White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. Sox made a furious comeback yesterday. Tonight, Game 2. It's Polish Heritage Night here at the ballpark as the Sox take on the New York Yankees. Good evening, everybody. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. And the Yankees held off the Sox yesterday. Part of the reason was Chase Headley, who now has back-to-back 3-hit games.
Chase Headley's only hitting .262. He doesn't have the real power that you expect from a third baseman, but yet he's in the 2 spot tonight because of 6 hits in the last 2 games. Anytime you're tasked with hitting in front of Judge and Sanchez, you got to get on base, and Headley's been doing that. There's a couple examples last night. His best side, the left side, hits this ball awfully hard, and he goes tonight against Jose Quintana, but he'll be hitting from the right side, so there's a chance maybe to get him out. You have to get him out ahead of the big boys in the middle. You mentioned Headley in the 2 spot. The Sox 1 spot has done a lot of damage recently, no matter who's been there. Even though it's been a revolving door in the 1 spot, whoever has been there has done a terrific job, and Tim Anderson was there last night. It was no exception. This is a 3-run blast. It's late. Shreve knew that he had given up the long ball. That made it 6-4, and things were starting to look bright. But the comeback fell a little short, but not because of Tim Anderson. Take a look at the leadoff hitter since June 15th. They're hitting .391. On-base percentage of .429. That's what you're looking for at the top. They've scored 6 runs, driven in 7 extra base hits. Well, there's 4 of those. And hopefully tonight things work out well because the guys in the middle for the Sox are hitting the baseball. Well, it's up to the pitchers to keep those guys at bay, and we have a couple of headliners in this game on the mound. It's a good matchup tonight. A veteran left-hander against a fairly young right-hander. Severino, who probably is better served out of the bullpen, is starting this year and throwing it very well. Jose Quintana's last 2 starts, he's 2-0 with an ERA of 1.32. So for him, although he's 4-8, things are starting to come together. Severino's a hard thrower. He can get it up there close to 100 miles an hour. The question is, can he get it over the plate consistently? And the answer has been, yes, indeed, he can. Well, the Yankees have won 3 of 4 against the Sox so far this year. Sox are trying to reverse that tune coming up tonight here at Guaranteed Rate Field. First pitch is just around the corner. Aaron Judge didn't have a hit yesterday. Sox kept him at bay. We'll find out if they can do it again. Supporting White Sox charities, and with more on that, here's Sierra Santos with a special guest.
Here with Julianne Davidson, you've been participating in Sox Serve Week. Last week, you had the chance to go to the Children's Advocacy Center, which provides services to children who have been abused. What did you do there?
We made dinner for them. We made dessert with them. We played games. We just held them. We talked to them. We loved on them and let them know that we were there for them. So they loved it, and it was awesome. It was so cool.
As a mother of young children yourself, what was that like?
It was hard. I mean, I had a moment where I broke down. It was really hard. Definitely went home and held my babies extra tight that night. So it was rough. It was hard.
Now, with all that hardship. You did get to spread some kindness yesterday. What did you guys get to do yesterday?
Yesterday, we surprised fans. We got to upgrade their tickets. We surprised them in line as they were getting dinner. We paid for their dinner. We just passed out balls and stickers and just fun things. It was awesome. It was so much fun.
And what was the fans' reaction like when you came up and you pulled out a credit card and you're like, hey, it's on me?
My family, the father cried. I went out to the far section and I asked him if they wanted to come up to the section much closer, and he cried. They were on vacation themselves and they couldn't believe that we would do that for them. So,
well, that is awesome. And we also have some note cards that you can buy online with a $25 donation or more. They're available on whitesox.com/sockserve. You can find those online right now. So go ahead and try and find them. Make your donation today. Thanks so much, Julianne.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Sierra, Julianne, thank you. Random Acts of Kindness Day yesterday, Sox Serve Week this week, and the Sox and Yankees coming up. First pitch just around the corner.
White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. Tested, trusted, Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. By Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite, hold true.
Postcard Day in Chicago. It is Polish Heritage Night here at Guaranteed Rate Field. And we're glad that you can come along, whether you're alone or in pairs. Yankees and Sox, game number 2 of a 4-game series, and 2 great pitchers on the marquee. Jose Quintana and Luis Severino have had very nice, whether it be careers or seasons. Quintana, the last 5 years, has been one of the top pitchers in Major League Baseball, and he has righted his own personal ship over the past 4 starts. Yankees starting lineup goes like this. They're 270 as a group, 3rd best in Major League Baseball. Ellsbury back up top, Headley, then Judge and Sanchez. Gregorius backs those 2 up today. Yesterday it was Tyler Austin. He drops a spot. Then Torreyes, Roman, and Rev Snyder with Starlin Castro on the shelf.
Let's take a look at the defense and how they're going to line up behind Jose Quintana. Melky Cabrera, Adam Engel, and Abisail Garcia in the outfield, with Frazier, Anderson, Sanchez, and Abreu in the infield. Kevin Smith gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is a man who's red hot in June. Jose Quintana, 2 straight wins, throwing exceptionally well. 4-8, his ERA coming down at 4.69. Just a beautiful night for baseball. 71 degrees at game time. The wind very much a factor. Only tonight it's blowing out toward right field. So we'll take a look at the umpires. And there is the crew chief, Joe West, behind the plate. Hunter Wendelstedt at first. John Lipka is at second. And Alan Porter is at third base. So the Sox trying to reverse what has been a disturbing trend, and that is late comebacks in games only to fall short. Overall, the Sox have lost 4 in a row. They've lost 7 of their last 10. But with Detroit's inability to put anything together, the Sox just a game out of 4th place. Kansas City red hot, they're 2.5 back, and the Cleveland Indians have a half-game lead in the Central. So a great night to come to the ballpark to watch our Sox take on the Yankees. Ricky Renteria, who loved the comeback last night, realizing that no, indeed, they did not win the ball game. However, emphasized that his team is still fighting. They fight throughout the ball game, and he loved the comeback, only to fall a little short. But they showed that they can hit one of the best closers around in Aroldis Chapman. So they've thrown the ball around the infield, which means we're ready to play baseball, and that means I am ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, the irascible Jason Benetti.
Only certain days. Stoney, thank you. We are ready to go for Sox and Yankees. It starts early tonight. Ellsbury, then Headley and Judge against Jose Quintana, who, as you said, has been resurgent here in June. Had those 2 starts of 15 earned runs combined, but the last 4 starts, just 6 earned runs, as there is strike 1 to Jacoby Ellsbury, the lefty, leading off today for the Yankees. Ellsbury, for his career, has pretty even splits. 279 against lefties, 288 against righties, if you're wondering why Joe Girardi would have a lefty at the top of the lineup against a left-handed starter.
One of the things that normally happens, there's a lot of left-hand hitters that can hit left-hand pitchers, and if the batting average is near the same, the power numbers usually are down. As you look at Joe Girardi, who's done just a great job in New York, and this year they weren't thought of as a contender. He's put an end to that.
Yankees right now are in a dead heat with Boston at the top of the AL East. The Red Sox are playing the Twins right now. And the Yankees, who have made the playoffs just 1 time in the last 4 years, trying to get back there with more frequency, as we saw in the 2000s and late 90s. 2 strikes, and that's outside. There is the AL East, pretty bunched up at 5.5 separating all 5.
The only thing really surprising is that the Tampa Bay Rays are only 3 games in back. They're 2 over 500. They're making a race of it. Yes, he did. No, Alan Porter says he did not.
I think Ricky Renteria thought he did.
Looked like he was showing exactly how far he went on that swing.
2-2 from Quintana. Breaking ball bounced to first. And Jose Abreu has out number 1 tonight.
One of the things that Ricky Renteria, when he talks to his ball club or he talks to the press, it doesn't really matter because he really has the same message, and that is, in order for this team to win consistently, they have to play clean baseball, meaning every aspect of the game, they have to do it well. They have to field well. They have to run the bases well. You assume that somewhere along the line they're going to be hitting well, and they've hit the ball well enough average-wise, certainly, to win a whole lot of games. But they have to shore up other aspects of the games to win against good teams.
To shortstop, Tim Anderson. Retires Chase Headley on the pick by Abreu, 2 down.
Here's a man that a lot of people have come to see, and more of them are coming to see him on a regular basis around major league ballparks.
Aaron Judge, 25-year-old, leader in home runs, 26 of them. You talk about getting off the bus and looking the part. Aaron Judge is that guy. This day and age, everybody is paparazzi.
And justifiably so. The way the young man has started out, Plus, he is such a likable guy.
From everything we've heard, always has time for autographs, always has time for fans.
When I talked to Larry Rothschild about him, he said, look, this guy is a supremely talented player, and he quickly added, but he's a better person.
Usually will lead to significant staying power.
He's got some very big power to all fields. We've seen him hit the ball over 500 feet.
And he hits the ball hard basically everywhere. He is the major league leader in BABIP, which is batting average on balls in play. So everything in the field that's not a home run. He's hitting .420 for BABIP this year. Sometimes that will suggest that you're getting fortunate as there's a foul tip. Sometimes that will mean luck. But he's hitting the ball very hard.
Yeah, it's another factor. When we show you exit velocity, people have a tendency to just judge exit velocity in the length of home runs. But exit velocity really helps you in putting the ball in play. A ground ball off the bat of somebody, let's say at 95 miles an hour, might not come close to getting through. But at 101, it's going to fly by wherever the infielders are. He has an exit velocity consistently higher than that. And that's why if he doesn't hit it right at somebody, it gets through.
That ball is hit hard and foul right side. We showed you the numbers earlier this year between 95 and 105 miles an hour, and there is a significant spike in batting average.
Well, yes, hundreds of points. I mean, it's startling when you think about just 10 miles an hour and the difference it makes.
3-2 from Quintana to Judge. That's inside ball 4, the 4th walk in 2 days for young Aaron Judge.
That's going to be one of the greatest challenges in the very young career of Aaron Judge, and that is his ability when pitchers don't want to throw him anything to hit, his ability to lay off pitches and take his walks. Now that's, with 4 walks in this series, you understand that the young man is doing just that. But it's not as frustrating now as it's going to be, because as he gets hotter, he's going to see more pitches out of the zone. And in a non-RBI situation, it's good to lay off him. Sometimes you got to expand that zone to drive home a run.
So here's Gary Sanchez, the protection in the order for Judge. So you're saying right there, no score, 2 down, take your walk.
If the pitcher won't throw to you, there's no reason to expand your zone, because when you talk about where the pitch is going to be, if it's 6 inches, 8 inches outside and down, the best you can do is put it in play, a ground ball maybe the opposite way. If it's off the plate inside, the best you're going to do is a broken bat and a foul ball on the third base side. So you might as well lay off and get on base for Sanchez.
Ball low, 1-1 on Gary Sanchez, who didn't have a hit yesterday but did reach base 3 times on a walk, a hit by pitch, and an error. Sox made 3 errors in the game, and that was one thing Ricky Renteria told us before the game, that he has not seen that kind of play from his team very much at all this year. Games that look like they're going to get away defensively like that.
No, and he said, look, a loss is a loss. Everybody knows that. He said, but it's how you got to that loss that's very important to him, because he wants to stress playing hard for 27 outs, playing a clean game, and he's able to do that. So he gets frustrated when the team doesn't play well and loses. Not so frustrated when they play well and lose. He doesn't like to lose at any time. He said he's out here along with his players to win each and every ball game. They don't care about rebuilding. They don't really care about anything as it's stated. He said, my staff, me, and every one of these players wants to win every day. We just have to show them continually how to go about doing that and keep their focus for 27 outs.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Sanchez. Judge at first. And that's low, 3-2. And to that point, kind of a tangential point, Ricky Renteria's philosophy is as well, okay, if we lose 1 game but the process improves, I'll take that too.
Well, he realizes that this is maybe not as long-term of a situation and building a foundation of winning that a lot of people think.
There's strike three. Quintana goes upstairs, as we've seen him do so much to strand Aaron Judge here in the first. Luis Severino comes out after this. Starting lineup for the Chicago White Sox. Yolmer Sanchez at the top spot today after Tim Anderson got that call yesterday. Melky, Jose, and Avisail, then Todd Frazier, Matt Davidson, Tim Anderson in the 7 spot. Smith and Engel 8 and 9 once again.
Let's take a look at the defense and how Joe Girardi's going to line up his Yankees. Ref Snyder, Ellsbury with a Gold Glove, and Aaron Judge in the outfield with Headley, also a Gold Glove, Gregorius, Torreyes, and Romine in the infield. Gary Sanchez gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is Luis Severino. On for the 15th start, 5-3 record, 330, 95 strikeouts, and 87 in the third with just 71 hits. Last year, and talking with Larry Rothschild, he said in spring training, Severino finally hit triple digits with his fastball and was so elated about that Larry had to have a talk with him and say, look, it's nice that you can reach triple digits. Now you have to learn how to get it over the plate consistently and change speeds. That's the art of pitching.
He'll face Sanchez first, and there's ball number 1. Speaking of hard-throwing pitchers, we will be joined at some point in the first couple of innings of this game by Michael Kopech, the Double-A All-Star for the Birmingham Barons. They are off today, so Michael is going to stop by at some point in the first couple of innings tonight.
He's one of the hardest throwing pitchers in organized baseball.
Disorganized baseball, too.
And he is hoping to be able to consistently get his secondary pitches over the plate, because the Sox believe that he is a starting pitcher. They're starting him in the minor leagues, getting him more innings, to face more hitters, and to learn his craft.
Well, you mentioned Severino throwing harder. His average fastball this year is 97.3, which is up 2 miles an hour from his rookie year.
That was rifled into the dugout, and I believe that everybody's okay, because that was a rocket. I mean, apparently almost getting James Shields.
That was almost a Van Gogh treatment.
That was a rocket. I mean, sometimes they come in because of the screen. They'll come in, they'll bounce over the screen. It's not so bad. That was a line drive. If that hit somebody, that would have been a problem. So I do believe that's probably the best way to do it. Take a look behind the screen, or wait for that plate that Todd Frazier is putting over his face.
The one that Derek Holland hit him with yesterday in the home run celebration. James has never been more properly named with the last name of Shields.
He could have used it there.
Sanchez to first. That's a foul ball.
seen Romine a couple of different places. You don't see it a whole lot. You don't see a man catching one night, playing first base the other night, but Romine is doing that. They disabled Starlin Castro. We saw last night, left the game early. Was a hamstring problem. They've talked about it, saying that it wasn't near as serious as they thought, which means it's not a tear, which also means that before it does get any worse, they put him on the disabled list. So last night, trying to beat out a base hit, all of a sudden it grabs him right there. He's going to be gone for at least 10.
Sanchez strokes it, left center field, and past Ellsbury. Yolmer's on his way to second base. He is there with the leadoff 2 bases.
Pretty much gives you an idea. You throw 97, 98, even 99 or 100. If you throw it right down the middle, it's going to get hit awfully hard. And Yolmer got the fastball he wanted. It was right down the middle. This slicing away from Ellsbury, who's a very good center fielder. And on the dive, it hits the end of the glove, bounces away. So we highlighted the leadoff hitters, and hitting close to 400 over the last couple of weeks. The hit parade continues.
No matter who it is, as Yolmer gets it by Ellsbury. And now Melky Cabrera, who was 3 for 5 yesterday.
Melky's got to find a way to pull the ball here, even on a pitcher who can get it up there to triple digits.
Melky's been a massive ground ball hitter this year. He is 10th in baseball at over 53%. He showed bunt there. Question is, was he just kind of getting in Severino's head, or did he mean it?
Well, there's a couple of things that will happen if you show bunt. One is Headley at third has got to come in. Now he's playing on the cut of the grass anyway, but he's got to take a step in. Now he has moved in fully on the grass. But you also put it into Romine's head that he might lay one down. But for the moment, at least, Romine is not buying it. He's staying back at first.
There's strike one. Fastball at 95, a little bit off of that. Melky's average is up about 30 points the last 19 games. And the battle is on. People diving over rows. Good job, good effort. Melky fouls it away, still 0-2.
The Yankees 3 under 500 on the road. They're 17-20. But Luis Severino is not an example of why they're under 500. He's got a .270 ERA in the road this year. Doesn't sound great, but it truly is. He's 13th out of 121 starters. The average ERA on the road for all of baseball is .470.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big number.
And I mean, just taking it from the very tunnel-like Sox perspective, there have not been that many games in this ballpark for people to be on the road for in a hitter's haven sometimes.
And now that the weather is going to be consistently warmer, although you'd never know it by the last couple of days, it will be, and that makes it even a better hitter's park here.
Severino and Sanchez have taken some time to figure out what they want to decide on. That's twice now.
Well, what we haven't seen, Severino has a pretty decent straight change, and he has an exploding slider. We haven't really seen anything but Severino reaching back and trying to get something extra on the fastball, so it could very well be that Sanchez is trying to get him to throw the secondary pitches, and Severino to this point doesn't feel comfortable enough to throw them.
One and two. There's a breaking ball in the dirt. Melky stabbed at it, and he is out. Sanchez remains at second base. One down, and now time for picks to click. You can vote online at whitesox.com/pick-to-click. every game. Cruz got the lead at 12-11 over Steve, and the fans and I are just somewhere trying to play and failing at it.
But you have always been, as long as I've known you, which is seemingly forever, and it's actually feeling longer, you've always been a second half pick to clicker. And that's why we have to be ever vigilant to see you streaking to the lead in the second half.
Thank you for adding to the lead. Here is Jose Abreu, who nearly gets hit by that climbing fastball.
Jose taking a look out at Severino, not particularly happy with the location of that first one, but he had 3 hits last night. Severino was not trying to hit him, but trying to let him know that he will come inside.
On the ground, third base, Chase Headley. 2 down. He went slider on 1-0 to Abreu and got the out.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you're looking at just standard baseball pitching philosophy, it's if you go up and in, then throw a slider low and away, maybe you can get a hitter to roll over it, and that's what Jose did. He pulled the ball, hit it off the end of the bat on the slider. And so after the conversation with Sanchez, 2 of the last 3 pitches have been breaking balls, and that's what he was trying to tell Severino. You can't just keep throwing fastballs and get through this.
Severino's thrown more sliders this year than the other 2 seasons in the majors, but he shelved it for the first batter and a half.
Sometimes you just can't feel it.
Do you know that in the bullpen? I mean, you've said before the bullpen doesn't really show you what's going to happen out on the field.
No, sometimes, you know, you're the one guy who doesn't warm up at the position that he's going to work at. It's the only guy on the field who warms up someplace else. So that bullpen mound and the mound that you stand on in the middle of the diamond, they have little variances.
Check swing, and Avi did go. In fact, the appeal went one way from Sanchez, and Joe West went the other way. 1 pointed left, 1 pointed right.
And if the home plate umpire is going to make that call, the appellate court is closed, counselor.
No balls, 2 strikes on Avi. Sanchez at second after a leadoff double. And he fouls it off. Here is what Luis Severino chooses. Fastball about 52% of the time. Slider is that second big sliver, and then the changeup along with 0.1% of other.
Yeah, that's because nobody could decipher what it was, and so they give him the other, but I don't think he has an other. But he does have a very good slider.
How was your other?
It was outstanding. I had 10 or 12 pitches. None of them could I get over the plate consistently.
0-2, and Avi lays off. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The point being, Severino most of the time is a 2-pitch pitcher, and then he mixes in the changeup from there.
The changeup is a show-me pitch for the most part, and he actually has a pretty decent straight change.
One and 2 from Severino. Off the plate, 2-2.
Severino started to walk off, but that pitch missed by 4 or 5 inches. And Joe West, being a veteran umpire, not particularly happy when a pitcher will do that.
There's a great story in USA Today about a week ago about Joe West, and we will give you a detail or 2 from that throughout the night. As there is strike 3, and Severino mixes in the non-fastballs to get a couple of strikeouts. No score after 1. Cues out after this. And we'd like to welcome all our viewers watching on Bernard Telephone in Bernard, Iowa.
You sure it's not apostrophe S?
Hey, Bernie, share that phone.
Really, I'd love to watch the game. Can I come over?
Oh, we love our fans in Iowa. No score after 1 tonight. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, our entire crew. Thanks for stopping by this lovely Tuesday evening in Chicagoland.
I have a dear friend who is from Iowa, one of the great supporters of anything Iowa, Fritz Gorin, looking on tonight. And if he's not, he should be. But he is an Iowan from top to bottom.
Here is D.D. Gregorius.
The Yankees are a better team when Gregorius is playing. He's been very good this year.
He's slugging at .478, batting average at .312. Doesn't walk a whole lot. And he takes strike 1 from Quintana. Gregorius has hit lefties very well this year at .364. Former Diamondback and Cincinnati Red for 8 games with Cincinnati, then 183 with the Diamondbacks over the course of 2 seasons.
One of the biggest factors is he's committed only 2 errors at shortstop in 51 games.
D.D. Gregorius, who was once traded for Matt Albers in a 3-team deal.
There was about 20 people in that trade.
That's true. Jason Donald, Shin-Soo Choo, Drew Stubbs, Lars Anderson, Steve Stone.
I stayed out of that, but just barely.
That big trade a bunch of years ago, Tigers and Astros, that was just 2 teams, but there were like 12 guys in that trade, right?
Probably going to see a couple more substantial deals than we've seen to this point as we get closer.
There's a swing and a miss for strike 3. Quintana strikes out Gregorius. Smith completes the out for the first one here in the 2nd inning.
Good breaking ball, low and away. Nice stop by Kevin Smith. Made sure to smother it, and when it did trickle away, it was very close to him. So 2 strikeouts in the early going, as the curveball was masterful last time out and looks like it's going to be very good tonight.
As we told you, the last 4 starts for Jose Quintana have been very Q-like, with at least 5 innings and at most 3 earned runs. He's allowed just 6 earned runs in his last 24 innings, the last 4 starts. That was a strike, and Quintana didn't get it because of the catch, likely because of the catch by Smith.
It happens sometimes. It's very difficult for a catcher on a ball down to actually catch it as the glove is ascending instead of descending. It's a lot of catchers, just a natural tendency. A lot of catchers on a ball, especially when it has downward rotation, they catch it and the glove moves down a bit. That usually takes it out of the zone. Kevin's done a nice job behind the plate. In fact, Kevin and Omar have done a great job behind the plate all year.
That's strike 3. Quintana has struck out 3 in a row dating back to the 1st inning.
Another face-high fastball, and before this became as popular as it's been the last couple of years, Jose Quintana's been doing this, and it works out well. That's how you can strike people out with a less than overwhelming fastball. His fastball is good. It's 92, 93 miles an hour. It's just not an overwhelming fastball, so you have to hit your spots.
Ball 1 from Quintana to Torreyes, who's 10 for 19 this year against left-handed pitching.
And he's a notorious first ball, especially a fastball hitter. So all things considered, he can play just about anywhere, and Joe Girardi has used him in that capacity. He's done a great job of it.
Well, he didn't like the first pitch he saw, so he swings at the 1-0 and fouls it away.
There's a look at Joe. He was manager of the year for the Florida Marlins. And then he was rewarded by getting fired.
Torres to right field. Avi was playing in somewhat, and he squeezes out number 3. Quintana with a 1-2-3 second inning. Michael Kopech, Double-A All-Star, hard-throwing right-hander, joins us next. By phone by the Double-A All-Star Birmingham Baron right now and future White Sox pitcher Michael Kopech. Hey Michael, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. So people know about the fastball and everything with that, but how's the other stuff coming this season in terms of your slider and your changeup?
I feel pretty confident in my stuff right now. I've worked a lot this year with Jose Bautista, our pitching coach, on trying to just get to a point where I can throw my secondary stuff in any count. And I feel like as of recent, my changeup has really gotten to that point. And I've been confident with my slider all year. So I feel like it's getting to a point where I can really put myself in a good position for my future.
What kind of changeup is it? I mean, tell us a little bit about the grip. Are you using that circle change or are you using another variation of it?
I've toyed around with just about every changeup grip you could probably imagine. And I've figured out, I think, a grip that works best for me, and it's a variation of the circle change. And it's just kind of out of I have a lower arm slot as my fastball is anyway. So I feel like I'm able to throw my changeup from that same arm slot at a pretty good, comfort level. So that's what I've been doing recently.
What's the difference between Double-A hitters and Single-A or Advanced A hitters?
I just think there's guys that have that pitch in mind that they want to hit when they go up to the plate. And, a lot of it comes down to not giving them that pitch, not getting a hitter's count to where they can take advantage of that pitch if you throw it. So there's not as many free swingers, I think. They're just a little bit more experienced.
Have the White Sox told you anything about limiting the amount of pitches you're going to throw or the amount of innings you're going to throw them in?
Right now I'm on about 100 pitches per game for a pitch count, but for an innings load for the year, I haven't really heard anything. I'm just kind of trying to fill out as many innings as I can and save the bullpen as much as I can this year.
You being a very young pitcher, tell us a little bit, or give us a scouting report about some of the talent on the Birmingham team you're playing with.
We have a lot of talent. It was a team that I think most of the guys were really excited about at the beginning of the year, and unfortunately we had a kind of rocky first half. But all the guys seem to, we mesh well and we work well together, and there's just so many great hitters, and we have such a good staff of pitchers as well. We have, a fairly young staff for the most part, but we have some veteran experience on there too, and I think that's helped us grow quite a bit together. It's just been really exciting, and the second half we're looking forward to kind of putting all the pieces together.
Well, you and I talked in spring training, and I know you watched the radar gun. What's the hardest you've thrown this year?
You know what? With a few different radar guns, it's been kind of up and down. So I've heard in the same game that the hardest pitch I threw was 97, and then on a different radar gun it was 102. So you never know with what you're getting now. But I'll settle for the middle. 99, 100 is fine with me.
What do you want out of the second half of your season?
Like we talked about earlier, just getting to that comfort level with my secondary pitches to where I can actually throw anything I want in any count if necessary. I feel pretty comfortable right now, but it's just that one more notch that I think will prepare me more for the big leagues and for the future.
Well, Michael, really appreciate the time. Enjoy your off day. Sorry you didn't get to pitch in the All-Star game because of rain, but thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
That's Michael Kopech. End of 2, no score.
Go behind the camera with the CSN crew as they talk about White Sox prospect Michael Kopech. How timely. Interviewing Patrick Kane and much more. The Extra Point tomorrow at 11 on CSN.
How about that? You get to hear more from Michael Kopech, Texan.
Interesting young man, just turned 21, and he's got a cannon for an arm. It sounds like he's got a really good perspective on the secondary pitches.
What makes you say that from what he told us?
The fact that he is willing to work on that changeup after a lot of experimentation, because I went through the same thing, only I never got one. In 14 years, I could never throw a straight change that was worth much of anything. So it's nice if he feels comfortable with a variation of the circle change. That's a good thing.
You never found one?
Never. And I tried just about everything. In fact, it led to a splitter.
Really? To third base and Frazier. And one away. How does a changeup lead to a splitter?
Well, I knew that if you spread your fingers out on the baseball, you would slow the baseball down. And so I started with a variation of a two-seam fastball, which is putting your fingers right there, which is on the narrow part of the seams. And then to slow it down even further, I spread my fingers out. Well, eventually it got to the point where I was releasing it and getting the spin and the rotation of a splitter. The only problem was I threw a lot of curveballs. With the splitter also, I was getting some elbow issues. But this was a good way to do it. Now the circle change is like this. You see the circle here, and the ball is pretty much nestled in the last 3 fingers with the little finger on the side of the baseball. That's how a lot of guys throw the circle change. They throw it like that, they release it, it comes out with spin that takes it away from the left-hand hitter and sometimes down if you can get it that way. I could never get the command of that. So there's that. There's a 3-finger fastball that also, it's the same thing, only using 3 fingers. Again, pushing the ball deeper in your hand gives you less velocity, and you keep the same release point and the same arm speed of the baseball, which is what you're looking for. A straight change is only good if you have the same release point and the same arm velocity as your fastball. If you do that, the hitter won't be able to read it, and then you're trying to get him to move his hands forward. If a hitter goes out with the front foot but keeps his hands back, he's going to hit your changeup very hard. If he starts moving his hands, he's not going to get much into the swing. That's what the pitcher is trying to do. The hitter is trying to identify the straight change and keep his hands back.
Ball off the plate to Rob Refsnyder. So the Romine ground out is now 5 in a row from Quintana. And he fouls it away. Last walk for Rob Refsnyder was on May the 30th, so ball 4 doesn't seem terribly likely.
No, not anytime soon.
Quintana gets a swing and a fly ball. Adam Engel patrolling center field tonight, and he has out number 2 here in the 3rd. The 2017 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate. When buying a home, the best mortgage experience on the planet starts at rate.com.
This Yankee lineup coming into the game tonight had walked 287 times. One of the reasons is they have a lot of guys that people just pitch around. The Sox, on the other side of the page, have walked 185 times. So the Yankees have over 100 more walks than the Sox do in approximately the same amount of games.
That's 4th and 29th in Major League Baseball. Now Ellsbury takes ball number 1 after grounding out to first in the 1st.
You always have to watch the bunt. He's got very good speed, and with that in mind, Todd Frazier is off the line, but even with the bag.
Two balls and no strikes on Jacoby Ellsbury, whose alma mater, Oregon State, went to the College World Series.
Well, they've had a really good program up there. Fairly good pitching staff this year, I understand, from your scouting report.
They had the best ERA in college baseball, and Todd Frazier goes climbing for Ellsbury's liner. Todd was protecting James Shields to the dugout earlier. Here he protects Quintana. No score.
Miller Lite.
Todd Frazier over at third base just took one from the Yankees and Jacoby Ellsbury.
And fortunately, he was not in on the grass, because if he was, that's a base hit. He wasn't. He kept the no-hitter intact. And some very happy people. Good play by Frazier.
Smith, Engel, and Sanchez to bat here in the third against Luis Severino. And we were talking to Michael Kopech during the second inning, but Severino was virtually unhittable with 3 straight strikeouts.
You have to hope that he falls behind with a fastball and you can take the slider out of the equation, because his slider, the one he's throwing tonight, right-handers, unless he hangs it, they're not going to do anything with it. It's late, it's quick, and you can't pick up the spin on the baseball when it leaves his hand.
Smith through the right side, and Kevin has the second hit tonight for the Sox.
And he knew with 2-0, Severino's not going to throw a slider. He's looking fastball, takes it through the right side. And that's a way to approach a guy with an unhittable slider. Is look for the first hittable fastball you get in the sequence and try to put that in play.
We're getting close to the territory of first walk ever for Kevin Smith. He was 2-0.
No, that wasn't going to happen. He got the hittable fastball. I mean, that was a well-crafted at bat after your pitcher falls behind 2-0.
So Adam Engel, who may show bunt here, we'll see. He's swinging away. Thought maybe because of Engel's ability to handle the bat and his speed, he might even think about going kind of down the middle of base hit and sacrifice. Checked his swing and went around. Smith at first. After 6 in a row, retired by the 23-year-old Severino. Slider, and Engel stays off of it. Adam Engel, 43 at-bats deep into his major league career, and he has impressed Ricky Renteria in a number of ways, defensively being one of them.
And big speed. He's got that. And he had an opportunity to sacrifice and put it in play, got the bunt down. But if you can go get him in center field, you have a whole lot of value, and he can go get them in center field.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
And although Kevin Smith doesn't have real good speed, as you would expect for a guy who's been catching quite a bit of time, with Severino and his wipeout pitch being that hard slider, the majority of them wind up in the dirt. And Sanchez, who came up as a pretty decent defensive catcher, over the last few months it hasn't been quite as good for him, and Romine a little bit more adept defensively, but Sanchez behind the plate digging out low sliders is tough.
This time he goes fastball at 99 and has strikeout number 6. Sox fans, join us Friday, June 30th. That's this Friday, Mullet Night, and a post-game fireworks show presented by Great Clips. The night features haircuts courtesy of Great Clips and mullet wigs for purchase to support Ronald McDonald House Charities from Steve's collection. Great Clips. It's gonna be great. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
Ron and I are tight, by the way. Just thought I'd let you know that.
Ron McD?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Where'd you meet him first?
Great personality. Usually he hangs around restaurants.
He doesn't eat at his own place?
No, I'm sure he does. I'd like to think he ate with the king and got a flame broiled, but look.
1 strike on Sanchez. Smith at first, 1 down. And there's a ground ball foul by Yolmer Sanchez. The Sox last night took the first lead in the game. Todd Frazier, a home run in the 2nd inning, but then the Yankees, with 3 sacrifice flies and a couple of errors by the Sox as well, plus a Tyler Austin home run, scored 6 in a row to go up 6-1. Then the Sox scored 4 in the 9th, but couldn't get the equalizer. Right side and through. Sanchez is 2 for 2.
Interesting at bat because, number one, Severino hadn't thrown a straight change. He threw in on the pitch before, and then Sanchez wanted another straight change, only he wanted it away. He didn't get it there. He got it in the inside part of the plate. And if you're throwing a straight change from a right-hand pitcher to a left-hand hitter, you want it out away and ahead in the count. Sanchez wanted it out there, signaled for the change, and then showed Severino where he wanted it, and then sat off the plate outside. Cost him a base hit.
The 2 on 1 out for Melky Cabrera, who struck out on 5 pitches in the first. There is ball 1 from Severino. You mentioned it just a little while ago. If you can neutralize the slider with a fastball out of the zone to start the at bat, you're in pretty good shape.
But then you have to eliminate all the other pitches and just look for the fastball.
There's a breaking ball in the dirt. 2 balls, no strikes. There's a slider that is in the zone. 2-1. Smith at second, Sanchez at first. Sox trying to draw first blood tonight, and Melky serves it to right center field. Ellsbury is there, and Sanchez is caught up, but the throw goes into third. So Yolmer, who was very close to Kevin Smith at second base, has to scamper back and does so.
Fortunately, Ellsbury didn't see that Yolmer could have tagged Kevin Smith at second. When he realized the ball wasn't going to fall, which he didn't realize for a while, feet went out from under him, but the throw was coming to the cutoff man, went all the way through to Headley, and it was not a double play.
So it's up to Jose Abreu. He gets the chance to bat with the throw going into third. And a fastball misses to start him off. Ball 1.
Well, Jose normally is pretty tough in run-scoring situations. That's why he's driven in 100 or more his first 3 years in the league. But a little added incentive because the first fastball went up and in, the first fastball of the night. Jose is really grinding here to drive home the first run of the ball game.
Off the plate outside. 2 balls, no strikes.
That's 3 hitters this inning. He's fallen behind 2-0, and that is something that neither Severino nor anybody else in this league can afford to do consistently.
Abreu right side and down the line. Fair ball. Smith around third. The Sox are on the board. Jose's into second, and Yolmer slams on the brakes around third. 1-0 Sox on the Abreu double.
That was a straight change, and he got it off the end of the bat. He drives home his 49th run. He's getting awfully close to Avi for the team lead. Straight change. And even though he did start to pull out a touch, he had good enough coverage to get it off the end of the bat, take it by Romine, and then a hustle double. He had to play in front of him. He realized that Judge was not going to get to it in time, and he hustled into second base.
What's especially interesting about that non-rocket for Abreu for the RBI double is he came into today tied for second in Major League Baseball in most outs with the expected batting average at 500 or higher. So when you hit a ball at a certain angle and a certain speed, you're supposed to have a batting average of X, right? Jose had 27 balls coming into tonight where he was expected to have a batting average of 500 or better, and he made it out. So there, he flips one down the line and drives in a run.
Well, as I tell all the hitters, it all evens out. They tell me something that's not fit for television, but it seems to even out. Hitters will tell you it never evens out, but it does.
Jose will say, okay, those 27, I'll take those, and you can have that double from the third inning tonight.
And Sanchez going out to talk with Severino, who just hung a slider. Could very well be. He's talking to him about staying closed a little bit longer. If you don't stay closed, it's going to go up and into a right-hander. You don't stay closed on a slider, you're going to hang it. It's going to come up spinning and not doing anything. And Sanchez wanted to remind him he's ahead 1-2.
Javi swings through a fastball at 99, and the inning's over. 7th strikeout, but the Sox are on the board first. Jose Abreu starts the scoring with an RBI double. And our prize shelf is well stocked tonight.
And you have the added addition of a fork, a knife, and quite possibly, but not necessarily, a spoon in this. And it's fresh from Jason, who eats every night in the booth when it's brought to him. This is a souvenir out of his collection.
It's not used. You don't want it either way.
And there's the rest of the prize shelf. The statue of Paul Konerko, certainly a good one. Our watch gnome looking over everything to make sure that nothing is stolen.
We need a watch gnome to watch over you to make sure that you don't break our watch gnome.
Well, that's true, too.
You have a history. 2 strikes on Chase Headley, who bounced out to Tim Anderson in the first pitch he saw in the first inning. Another high fastball and another strikeout. He's got 3 of them on that pitch tonight of the 4 that he's thrown. And here is your Sox Math question. Hashtag Sox Math. First correct answer on Twitter wins a prize off the prize shelf. Number of runs the Sox got in the 9th inning last night, plus the number of letters in Kevin Smith's home state, minus the number of teams in the American League, multiplied by the number of games the Sox have left on the road before the All-Star break.
That's middle of the week, and it's a little bit tougher.
It's lengthy. It's not any one of them individually is really tough, but it's lengthy. You have to go get like a map. But we've talked enough about where Kevin Smith's from and his history. It's the California native Aaron Judge who takes the ball inside. So now 6 walks the last 2 games and 1 plate appearance so far tonight. His batting practice is impressive, but yesterday he put on quite the show, and today he cleared the hedges in center field.
That's a blast. We've seen Jim Thome go up there. Very few other people have hit one that far. And again, all the pitchers are going to be very careful with Judge at this point. And so far, he has not expanded his zone. And there you see, above those hedges, geez, maybe Austin hit it there, but not many people will.
That is a long way away. 1 hop to the scoreboard. Judge, a blast, but not enough. 2 down. And we remind you that with over a century of White Sox baseball, there are countless memorable moments. With a $25 donation or more to White Sox charities, you will receive a set of note cards that highlights many of these special moments. Visit whitesox.com/soxserve to donate.
They are also beautiful note cards. And you're donating to a wonderful charitable organization that helps the Chicagoland area and has for years.
It's called ball number 1, close pitch to Gary Sanchez. Nice note cards. The premium seating tickets were made of these photos, the ticket stock this season. You can use them as thank you notes or notes to yourself. Notes to friends and family, whatever you want to do. They're kind of nice. I like them.
Very nice.
I'm going to write you a note in the middle of this game. Here's
okay. You can send it.
It's very fitting that Jose Quintana would be on the mound. Jimmy Fallon, who helped teach Jose Quintana English, is well known for his thank you notes. Close pitch, and Quintana did not get the call, so twice in this trip to the plate he's not gotten a strike that could have been.
Where Kevin caught it, it was low. It came over the plate, however, in the zone.
That one is ball 4. It was outside, so a 2-out walk for Gary Sanchez.
This one did curve around the plate. It was not in the zone, the one before. Looks like it had a piece of it, but the end result is that it's the second walk of the night. 1 to Judge, 1 to Sanchez. Combined 4 last night.
Broken bat to third base. Todd Frazier jump throw, and it's not in time. That is the first hit for the New York Yankees tonight.
The reason why that was a hit is that with the spin on the broken bat, it took an abrupt right turn on Todd. As he's going to the line, the ball actually goes the other way, and that creates a difficult situation for him. He had to try what we've called the jump pass before, but if you don't have momentum going into that jump, you're not going to get anything on the throw. And Todd was just stuck. It was the spinning baseball that created the hit, as opposed to the play, which he had no chance on.
So here is second-year Yankee Tyler Austin, who struck out on 4 in the second inning. Wonder if we'll look back at that ball from this inning at some point tonight and say, if that were not to be, who knows? Quintana's got good stuff tonight.
He's got very good stuff.
One breaks just low. 1 ball, 1 strike on Tyler Austin. He's 2 for 12 this year in the major leagues.
And even though Jose has not gotten the benefit of some of those curveballs down, you like the fact that when he is missing, he's missing down.
Called a strike on the inside corner. Tyler Austin, who fouled the ball off his foot in February, started the year on a 60-day DL stint. Came back with AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre in June.
He was a 13th round pick in 2010. Another a bit more famous 13th round pick, Albert Pujols, 13th round by the St. Louis Cardinals. That worked out pretty well for the Cardinals and for Albert.
We just saw a 38th rounder on Saturday.
Mr. Burley.
2-2. In the dirt, bouncing away from Smith. Sanchez to third, Gregorius to second.
That is the 7th wild pitch of the year for Jose, who leads the team by a wide margin in that dubious department. And this one hits the bottom part of the chest protector and bounds away. So now you got runners at second and third. And Kevin out to the mound. And every time he does go to the mound and Yolmer is playing second base, he goes to the mound.
So with the wild pitch, a base hit here likely, very likely, scores 2. Gregorius has good speed at second base. Three and 2 on Austin. And he fouled it off.
Q tried to go to that high fastball once again. Didn't get it quite high enough.
Three balls, 2 strikes. A 1-0 lead on the board. And it stays right there. Quintana paints Austin to finish off the 4th inning. 2 stranded. 1-0 Sox.
some fans may have noticed that Tim Anderson was sporting a new look last night. That's because he's wearing corrective eyeglasses. Ricky Renteria said that Tim asked to get his eyes checked. He's had the glasses for about 2 or 3 weeks now, and he's been trying to get used to them. Tim said he plans on wearing them for the rest of the season, and this might not be that big of a deal, but you'll recall Timmy had a 3-run blast in the bottom of the ninth, his first home run in 22 games. So Jason and Steve will have to keep an eye out on whether Tim is seeing the ball better.
Ah, I see.
Yes. And if it works very well for him, there'll be glasses around for the boys.
Well, in talking very briefly to Ricky Renteria about it, as Sierra was mentioning, he said, look, you know, if you got him, you might as well use him, get used to him, try and work him in. I mean, there's been a lot of discussion as this one's coming back toward us and into the booth, ladies and gentlemen. Nearly busted our TV. You got it?
It did not. No.
It's down here.
No idea where the ball is.
It's underneath the TV. Go crawl and get it.
I need a garden weasel. Do any of you out there have a garden weasel of years past? We have a human garden weasel.
To be clear, I held the line. I just sat there and watched. You ducked.
That's because it was over my head and not yours, senor. And there is the baseball. And we're going to put this one to very good use. We're going to change it with this one, which we've been using for demonstrations, which looks like it's 100 years old.
Were you juggling?
I can juggle. See?
The many talents.
Good, huh?
We need to get the authenticator on this. Although you just had like a chain of custody issue there by switching them around and playing the hat game with it. Todd Frazier leads off the inning with a base hit.
That was a slider, and he reached out. It was not a particularly hittable pitch, but he went after it. Gregorius cannot get to it. Some good hitting against a guy who's had, for the most part, an unhittable slider tonight.
There's a good slider, 0-1.
Sanchez has got a pretty good arm, but if Todd can get that walking lead that he has gotten on so many of the major league pitchers, he's going to be able to steal a base.
Quick throw by Sanchez.
Not a bad idea. You've got a catcher throwing to a catcher. Romine, who caught last night, playing first base tonight.
There goes Todd, and here comes the Yankee rundown. Tagged by Torreyes, and one away.
He got the big jump, but unfortunately, Severino did it perfectly. You step back off the mound and then get it to the guys who work rundowns for a living, your middle infielders.
So Severino can work out of his full motion, and that was a very close pitch on a breaking ball to Davidson.
There were a lot of people in the Yankee organization that felt that Severino plain and simply would make an overwhelming closer. Yankees need, however, especially when they decided to get Aroldis Chapman back again as a free agent, their need was for a starting pitcher. And Larry Rothschild said that Severino's slider is good enough, and when he chooses to use it, the straight change is good enough for him to be a starting pitcher, and it's worked out that way.
Fastball for strike 3. Second strikeout of Davidson, and 2 away for Tim Anderson, who last night got the Sox on the comeback trail in inning number 9. A 3-run homer against Chasen Shreve. And watch who catches the ball. It's Aroldis Chapman getting loose in the right field bullpen.
And he was going to come on for a less than comfortable 2/3 of an inning save. He did give up a run, but the Sox couldn't get any closer.
Chapman very quickly just dropped the ball right where he was. Said, I don't need this. He, though a hard hit ball was coming directly at him, stood there, reached up and made the catch.
That's because, with a huge difference being, one, player A had a glove, player B had a pin.
I don't know why you're getting defensive. I wasn't talking about anybody else
Well, I didn't
specifically.
think, no, and I knew that.
Huh.
But I was just looking at the difference between the two performers, as it were.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you were talking about yourself there?
No, I was talking about Aroldis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Ball at 2 strikes on Anderson. Who fouls it hard back toward us, but below.
The thing with Severino is that you can't really wait for a drop-off in his fastball velocity. One of the things he's been able to do since coming into major leagues was sustain that velocity all the way through, and it's at anywhere from 97 to 99 consistently. It's going to stay there as you look at 8 strikeouts and no walks. Make it 9.
There is strike 3 on Anderson, so Severino throwing the ball very well. Great pitching matchup. 1-0 your score. This summer, Gru and the Minions are going back to villainy. Illumination and Universal's new film, Despicable Me 3, in theaters Friday. Quintana to face the 7-8-9 hitters for the Yankees. Torreyes first. Jose's only allowed 1 hit. It's an infield single.
But he came with a game plan. One of them was don't allow Ronald Torreyes to hit a first ball fastball. He's thrown him in 2 at-bats, 2 breaking balls, both out of the zone.
You were talking about the curveball and how difficult, as you see the 1 hit, how difficult it is maybe sometimes for umpires to read a large sweeping hook like that. But you have the veteran umpire Joe West, who just did his 5,000th game earlier this year. Mentioned earlier that USA Today did a story about Joe West and some of his memories of the game. And they interviewed John Smoltz. There is ball 4. Smoltz said, well, I learned something way too late. When I was with Boston, I decided I'm going to find out what song Joe wants to hear when I come to the mound. So Smoltz didn't use his own walkout song that day. He picked one that he thought Joe West would like.
Had to be a country song.
It was. He said they gave me some obscure sentimental song, and there's Joe behind home plate tapping his feet and singing to the song.
There you go. That was good.
Leadoff walk for Torreyes. And there's a ground ball to third. Frazier to second. Sanchez to first. Double play.
When you get the ball very quickly and you don't have to worry about anybody sliding into you, and Torreyes couldn't get to second base quickly enough. When you get it that quickly, you can stand there straddling the bag as he did. You don't have to then worry about vacating the spot because you're going to get taken out. And so Todd got him the ball very quickly. Yolmer on the return throw, and that was a very easy 5-4-3.
Sanchez turns it very well at second base.
Yeah, he's got quick hands, and when guys are quick on the pivot, it looks like the ball just barely touches a glove before it's away on its way to first base.
The 2 down, Rev Snyder, and a ball and a strike. Joe West in that same story, by the way, mentioned that he is not a fan of the designated hitter. Said, quote, the DH, it's horrible. To third and Frazier. Out number 3 in this American League ball game. Pitchers have owned the day so far. 1-0 Sox over the Yankees. Is that right? All right. Look forward to seeing you.
Indeed. And we know you'll be live.
We'll have it in front of our eyes. Kevin Smith, right side again. That's his second hit into right field tonight. And it's his second leadoff single.
Both of them on fastballs, which is a wise choice from Severino, whose slider has been excellent. So 2 for 2 for Kevin Smith. Inside out swing on a fastball. Just able to ease it over the head of Romine at first base.
Last time Kevin Smith led off with a single, he came around to score in the 3rd inning for the lone run tonight.
Now you might see a situation where he lays one down, preferably to the first base side.
Adam Engel, who has very good speed. Had some hope of being a Buckeye at one point. Big Ohio State football fan. In fact, his Twitter profile banner is Adam in a Buckeye jersey.
Wise choice. Being a Ohio State fan, as I am, from the greater Cleveland area, get a lot of Buckeye fans.
Even though you went to Kent State, you're a Buckeye fan.
Oh, yeah. Very rarely does Ohio State have the courage to go head-to-head with Kent State in anything.
0-1. That's down. 1 ball and 1 strike. You ever hear that Beach Boys song? I think it was called Be True to Your School.
I think once or twice.
You
That was before my time, though.
You didn't heed the message?
My dad told me it was a great group. Were they good? Did they have some success?
Yeah, there was a level of harmony there. Yeah. Smith at first. Sox trying to get to Severino, and Engel does lay the bunt down first base side. Look to second, throw to first, and 1 down. Smith to second base. Here's your Sox math answer for tonight. Darren White Sox is your winner. 4 runs last night in the 9th, plus 12 letters in Pennsylvania. Minus 15 teams in the AL. That's 1 times 6 games left on the road before the All-Star break. Congratulations, Darren White Sox. And a number of people have tweeted at us, Steve, that we should sign the baseball and put it on the prize shelf, the one that nearly broke our television.
Wow, what a really good idea.
You gonna do it?
I thought you would do it.
Well, you're the one that put up the valiant effort to catch it.
It was valiant, okay.
1-0 on Sanchez, who's had a great night. 2 for 2, a double to lead off the game for the Sox offensively, then a single in the 3rd.
Outfield straight away. Not the greatest arms all the way around, so you'd figure Nick Capra will be aggressive.
Smoke to first, and Romine, the catcher, playing first base, shields the Yankees from another run.
This is a very good base running play by Kevin Smith, because it's an outstanding effort by Romine to his right on a line drive rocket. Clearly has it in the glove, and Kevin Smith recognizes that he has to get back. He doesn't get doubled up on the line drive. Would have been fairly easy to do so, and Gregorius was moving in back of him. But a good play all the way around, and a heads-up base running play is Yolmer bidding to go 3 for 3, gets robbed.
On the ground for Melky, Severino touches it and recovers for out number 3. Couple of different ways the Sox nearly grabbed a run there, but could not. So 1-0 after 5 for Quintana.
Site of the 2020 Ryder Cup. Discover 4 of Golf Digest's top 100 public courses, all located in Kohler, Wisconsin. Learn more at whistling.com/socks. Beautiful golf courses just about 2 hours north of here. Nice comfortable drive and a great place to play golf. And there's a young Sox fan figuring out what to do with a hoodie.
That is awesome.
Maybe a year or two away from figuring it out, but figuring it out nonetheless.
Jose Quintana, third time through the order, starts now on a breaking ball strike to Ellsbury, who lined out to third, and Todd Frazier with a beautiful play to end the third inning. Mentioned Jacoby Ellsbury out of Oregon State. He is a native of Oregon and gave back about $1 million to help refurbish the locker room at Gauze Stadium in Corvallis, Oregon. Has his name down the left field line there. 1-2.
Good solid breaking ball. And Q has tightened up the spin on that and starting to throw the curveball a couple of different speeds, which is always good because then a hitter can guess the curveball, but he can't guess the velocity.
High fastball. Ellsbury laid off. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Ellsbury has never seen Quintana very well, at least result-wise. He is 0 for 8. That had the corner, and Quintana did not get it.
It would have been a strike, but Kevin had set up outside. The pitch is there, but look where Kevin sets up. He's sitting low and away, and because he's got to reach across the plate, many times you don't get the benefit of the call, but this one did have a piece of the plate.
We had mentioned Joe West and some of his thoughts on the game of baseball and the story that the pullout they had on USA Today's website. And he's a very opinionated guy, a long-time umpire, knows a lot of the players very well, and loves the game of baseball. On the ground, second base, Yolmer Sanchez. Quintana does get the out to start the 6th. Free T-shirt Thursday and Superhero Night collide June 29th as the Sox take on the New York Yankees, 7:10 p.m. That's in just 2 days. First 10,000 fans will receive this Go-Go White Sox T-shirt. Plus, don't miss your favorite superheroes roaming the concourse throughout the game. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME. Looked like Derek Holland before the game today had Batman mask on, getting ready for Superhero Night. Avi, we're on number 2.
The wind has died down considerably since the start of the game. It's one of the reasons that one stayed in the park.
So Aaron Judge is the batter, and the Sox have not faced him so far in this series with a runner on base,
which is the best way to face him.
8 trips to the plate for Judge. Base is clear every time. That ball is a rocket to left center field and up the alleyway for number 99 with a 2-out double.
He was able to get the good part of the bat on a fastball that was over the inside corner. That shows you how quick he is inside. Jose threw a pitch exactly where he wanted to throw it. And Judge able to hit the ball on the good part of the bat. Fortunately, not more elevation as Melky can't get to it. And he's in scoring position.
All right, so Sanchez now. You got the lefty Gregorius after that. You pitch around Sanchez here?
Yeah, I would think you'd be very careful with him, and you want to take your chances with Gregorius.
What if I told you Gregorius' career is 4 for 5 against Quintana?
Then I'd say you go right at Sanchez. I still believe you have to be careful. I mean, you can I don't say you intentionally walk him, but you can throw pitches to Sanchez where he's going to expand his strike zone because he wants to drive in this run. He is a run producer. But he's a guy that will take his walks. Got 20 of them this year in 46 games.
Low and in, ball and a strike to Sanchez, who struck out in the first and walked in the fourth. A little early for superhero night. Young Clark Kent.
That'll play very well tomorrow night.
We talked about Derek Holland pregame, and Bruce Wayne, he is not. Derek's a lively guy.
He is that.
There's a strike, 1 ball, 2 strikes on Sanchez.
Now a nice place to put a curveball is in the dirt out in front of Sanchez. Get him to look at it. Make sure that it doesn't stay in the air all the way to the plate.
Judge at second, 2 down. He fouls away the high fastball.
Almost was able to get it by him, but he was able to stay alive.
Go back there?
No, I wouldn't. I'd go to the hook in the dirt. But he might go to it. We'll see.
1-2. There is the breaking ball in the dirt. Sanchez laid off. Judge a 2-out double. Just the second hit tonight for the Yankees against Quintana. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Quintana to Sanchez. Now 3-2.
Now after 2 pitches in the dirt, you throw one out of the zone, but that face-high fastball that he almost got by him, throw it a little bit higher and you will get it by him.
Three balls, 2 strikes. Quintana gets a high pop-up. Sanchez. And that'll do it. Judge stranded at second base. Quintana has been masterful tonight. And a 1-0 lead for the Sox.
It's Yasiel Puig. Base hit by Pujols. And Cole Calhoun taking liberties. He's cut down. Arm strength, 96.3 miles per hour. His hardest throw this year. Puig has a great arm, and he's very accurate at times, and that was one of those times.
That loss for the Dodgers was the first one in 11 games. 4-0 last night against the Angels. So it's Abreu, Garcia, and Frazier coming up to face Severino, who's only thrown 81 times. But the Sox have taxed him in one specific way tonight. In 5 innings, the Sox have 4 leadoff hits. So he's been dealing with runners on basically all night long.
Which, for a starting pitcher, means he's throwing pitches under duress, and you can get to the same amount of pitches if you're in trouble. You get tired much more quickly than if you're coasting right along, or if you have one of those delightful looking hot dogs. He's got a pair.
Not anymore.
Nope.
To third base, fair ball, Headley at the line.
Let's take a look at Avisail Garcia's last at bat. He had a fastball, it hittable. Not so much there. He fouled off a slider and then had another seemingly hittable fastball. Now, on this homestand, Avi is 1 for 19. Everyone in this game goes through slumps, but this is fairly significant because Avi has been battling a slump for the first time this year. He's had a great year, and because everybody does go through slumps, it'll be interesting to see how he's able to fight his way out of it. And players with a little more experience, Avi is still just 26 years old, but he does have experience. They will get out of slumps more quickly.
Up and in, ball and a strike. Avi right now is on his 3rd straight game. This would be the 4th. So coming into tonight, 3 straight games without a hit. He has never had 4 in a row all year long. And it'll be in the next at bat where he tries to pick up the hit because he is out here in the 6th. Calling all Illinois alumni. Join us Friday, July 14th as the Sox take on the Mariners at 7:10 p.m. right after the All-Star break. Buy the specially priced ticket package for the opportunity to watch BP before gates open and to get a White Sox Illini hat. To purchase this specially priced ticket package, visit whitesox.com/Illini.
And those are good-looking baseball caps.
Joe Grube has 10 of them in his basement. 11, I'm told.
That is approximately 1 for every cat he has.
Joe, who very gamely tonight went chasing after that baseball that you ducked.
He did. He was able to locate it.
Joe's part of our Booth Knothole gang. Two balls and a strike on Frazier, who singled back in the 4th.
So you haven't mentioned the pierogies that you got this evening, and they look delicious.
They went away very quickly. Polish Heritage Night, and Molly and Julie, who come up during the game and bring us some food to taste because we don't get a chance to walk around the ballpark like you all do, brought up pierogies. One was meat, one was potato, and one was sauerkraut.
Could I have the meat one? I'll let you keep the potato and the sauerkraut one.
I don't know that you want it. Frazier to right field, and Judge for out number 3, not because it wasn't good. 1-2-3 inning for Severino, still 1-0 for Quintana.
And Tyler Saladino was cleared for activity on Friday. Since then, he's been taking ground balls every day, and he added in batting practice yesterday. He says his back is feeling great, and he's hoping to begin a rehab stint with Charlotte before the White Sox head back out on the road. Now, the Charlotte Knights have the same all-star break as the big leaguers, so Tyler says he'll likely be joining Double-A Birmingham during that stretch to continue to get in work. But it's all good news because he originally thought he was going to be going to Arizona, but luckily, guys, he's going to avoid that scorching, blistering heat that they're experiencing right now.
Yeah, it was, what, 119 degrees last week?
Yeah, but that's deceiving.
How?
Because it feels even worse.
So Saladino likely to be back sooner rather than later, and that's good news for Tyler, who last was with Birmingham back in 2013. He played basically the full season there, 118 games. Jose Quintana has been very strong tonight. Just 2 hits allowed. And now ahead of Didi Gregorius. What has changed in your mind for Quintana these last 5 starts?
Well, a couple of different things. I think he's working more quickly with runners on base. I think he's finally starting to realize, although it might and it did work for him, that slowing down the pace when runners get on base, I think you're better served when you're not getting your rhythm to work more quickly. There's another one that went into the Sox dugout on the fly. Unfortunately, everybody emerges from that one. Anthony Swarzak loosening up in the pen. Dan Jennings standing in the pen.
Dan Jennings, White Sox guard. It's in the dirt, 1-2 on Gregorius.
Pitch number 96 on the way. So I think working a little more quickly with runners on base is one thing. I think tightening up his breaking ball is something else that looks different than it did early in the season. But you have a guy who's been so successful over the last 4 years, it was unrealistic to assume that he would continue along the streak that pushed him to 2-8. 2-8 is one thing because sometimes wins and losses can be deceptive, but the ERA was in the mid-5s, and that's most unusual for a man with an ERA of 3.30 in the last 4 years and having this as a home park.
There's a breaking ball for strike 3. 6th strikeout for Quintana tonight. Provide your guests with the ultimate all-inclusive White Sox experience in Guaranteed Rate Club or Magellan Scout Seats. These 2 premium seating areas are the best way to entertain your most important clients, employees, friends, or family, and are available for season ticket packages or individual games. For more information, call 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com/premium seating. Those both are great places to watch the game. You get the in-seat service. You get the food and the drink. It is a very plush place to watch a baseball game.
I like the buffet before the game. I'm a big fan of buffets of any sort.
You are?
Except for a vegetable buffet.
It's called a salad bar.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm a meatitarian, as I've told you many times. Salad bar, huh?
Yeah.
That's a good name for it.
Check one of those out.
Yeah, I should.
What do you think that is?
That's a fan with a Negro League sweatshirt.
Look at the food.
Oh, I wasn't looking at the food, but I'm in the foggiest at this point.
Italian ice
looking for an Italian ice, I believe.
It's inside. So Tyler Austin's run the count now to 3-1. Quintana with that very focused glare into Smith.
It'll be a fastball away. Let's see if he gets it there.
It's low. Ball 4. 1 out walk, and we take a look at the White Sox Farm Report presented by Ozinga. Sox Farm Report tonight is Micker Adolfo who last night with Kannapolis went 2 for 3 with a double and a homer and 3 knocked in. He's now got 5 homers the last 14 days. And congratulations on a nice run for Micker Adolfo as Ricky Renteria goes out to the mound and pulls Jose Quintana after a very nice night for Q. He gets a large ovation. The fans are standing after 6 1/3 and a 1-0 lead.
By Wintrust, Jake Berger took BP for the first time with the Sox, and Chuck Garfien sat down to talk with him about getting drafted by his favorite team. Plus, our Dan Hayes joins Garfien to discuss the return of Carlos Rodon. Subscribe to the podcast today. And our Hyundai call to the pen is Anthony Swarzak, on for the 30th time. ERA just below 3. He's 3-2. 6 holds on his record. He inherits Austin at first base and 1 out here in the 7th as Jose Quintana went 6 1/3 strong. Gave up just 2 hits. He leaves with the lead.
And Anthony Swarzak in charge of making sure that Quintana does not get another all expenses paid trip to no decision land tonight. Swarzak, a glance at Austin.
Well, 8 outs to cover against a very tough offensive club. And you only have a 1-run lead. It's going to take some great work out of the pen. As you see Austin, who's not a speed burner, with a very short lead at first.
On the ground, second base. Sanchez, Anderson's over on the run, double play. Beautiful turn by the Sox middle infield, and Swarzak, just like that, gets rid of the Yankees for Q. Todd Frazier making time for a selfie earlier on.
It's kind of nice.
Polish Heritage Night here at the ballpark, as the Sox and Yankees have played a very well-pitched game.
This has been just a good ball game all the way around to this point. There's been good defensive plays. The pitchers have dominated. Jose Quintana with a masterful performance in 6 1/3, and Anthony Swarzak came on with the double play that ended it.
Severino starts Davidson off with a slider for strike 1, so he's thrown a couple of fastballs for strike 3 to Davidson. Now opens this one with a breaking ball.
There's where the game has changed substantially. Pitchers used to do whatever they could to get a scuffed baseball, and now Sanchez didn't even think about getting that ball back to Severino. As soon as it hit the dirt, he just reached back for Joe West and got another one.
There's that fastball, and Davidson behind it, 1-2. Why do you think that is?
It's a habit that they've gotten into, and pitchers who work on in their side sessions using a scuffed baseball in the bullpen, they would be amazed at how much the ball moves and how difficult it is to pick up a ball that doesn't have what a hitter can anticipate as far as the spin is concerned or where the ball might be going. When you get a scuffed baseball, it pulls drastically away from the side that's scuffed, and hitters have a hard time because you get unnatural movement on the ball.
Unnatural movement.
Yeah, I mean it's not going to be predictable. You see a slider, you see the spin of a slider from a right-hand pitcher. A hitter has got a pretty good idea the path the ball's going to take. Yes, you might get outguessed on occasion with depth on a slider, but you know it's going away from you. More times than not, there's a little bit of depth. But with a scuffed baseball, you cannot predict where it's going to go because the pitcher can't. And the ball is just going to pull drastically, and sometimes if you hold the scuff underneath the baseball, the ball is going to go up. You're going to get what appears to be a rising fastball. You hold it at the top, the ball is going to sink. If it's on the left, the ball is going to pull right. If it's on the right, the ball is going to pull left, and it does so drastically.
High fastball for strike 3, so Severino now has 10 strikeouts in the game. Vote today, vote tomorrow. Vote Avi and Abreu for your 2017 White Sox All-Stars with the Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot. Vote at whitesox.com/vote and catch all the excitement of the 88th MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard. July 11th, live on Fox.
Big night tonight for Luis Severino, although he trails third time this year. 10 strikeouts or more. He's had excellent stuff tonight, pitched out of some jams, and he finds himself trailing, however.
By the way, if Avi Garcia were to make the All-Star game, he would be the first Sox outfielder since Carlos Quentin in 2011 to make the All-Star team, and he would be the first native of Venezuela since Maglio Ordonez since 2003. That was quick. Couple of sliders for Anderson, and strikeout number 11. DeWalt, the official tools of the Chicago White Sox. DeWalt, guaranteed tough, offering total job site solutions.
That ties the career high. That was back on April 13th against the Tampa Bays.
And he quickly fires in strike 1 to Kevin Smith, who has been Severino's kryptonite so far tonight.
Yankees bullpen up and going. So both bullpens working with Tommy Kahnle getting ready.
0-2. On the corner, strike 3. Severino twice tonight has struck out the side in order, but he trails. The Sox are up 1-0 in game 2 of this series.
eClick is located in Chicagoland and is rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. eClick Lending. Boom! Your mortgage just happened.
Those folks unfazed by the boom, just enjoying the ice cream.
And they're going to enjoy Tommy Kahnle as he comes in trying to preserve this 1-0 lead. He's on for the 32nd time. ERA of 1.47, 52 strikeouts and 30 2/3 with just 6 walks.
But Tommy Kahnle will face the 8-9-1 hitters Romine, Refsnyder, and Ellsbury in a 1-0 lead for Jose Quintana. The only run came across on a 2-out double from Jose Abreu in the 3rd. Tommy Kahnle, 15.2 strikeouts per 9. The best in his career, even including his minor league tour with the Yankees, AAA with the Rockies, and AAA with the White Sox. Best he'd ever done before this year was his first season in A-ball with the Yankees at 14.
He's had a magical year to this point. He's not going to face Refsnyder because Tyler Wade is in the on-deck circle.
That will be his first major league at bat. In the air on 0-1 into right field, and Sanchez is back to make the play. The Xfinity Fundamentals deck overlooks left field and is accessible from all levels of guaranteed rate field. The space features batting and pitching cages, base running areas, and skill instruction from Chicago White Sox Training Academy coaches. While there, check out the latest Xfinity technology, including the X1 platform. X1 by Xfinity. It'll change the way you experience TV.
Talked to a scout before the game, and he wanted to know when Kahnle had come up with his straight change and his slider. He said he had them. Except this year, unlike years past, he's getting everything over the plate. And Tyler Wade at AAA this year was getting it done. He probably didn't face a whole lot of pitchers that threw like Tommy can throw.
Former 4th round pick 4 years ago out of California, and he went after a fastball out of the zone. He's never been a massive power guy. In fact, just 14 home runs in his minor league career, but a .274 hitter lifetime, up to .313 this year, his best batting average of his entire pro life.
They're looking for somebody aboard in this situation, heading to the top of the order.
Outside on the change, 2-1. Wade has very good speed. In fact, 33 stolen bases 2 years ago in the minors. Cannot find that fastball. 2-2. Tommy Kahnle to Tyler Wade. One down, bases empty, 8th inning. 2-2. Upstairs.
Come on, baby, no ball.
Jacoby Ellsbury, the veteran, on deck. Three and two from Kahnle. Wade helped him out.
It's 2 pitches down and out of the zone, but when you're anxious and it's your first major league at bat, you're swinging hard in case you hit something.
Three and two. Up high, ball 4. So the speed of Tyler Wade on first base in a 1-run game with 1 down as the Yankee bullpen gets started. Domingo Germán getting loose for New York. A rare misfire a couple of times this year for Tommy Kahnle, both high and low.
And put a speed runner on base. So now Kevin Smith goes out, reminding Tommy that Wade has very good speed, and to employ the slide step, which means he's not lifting his front leg, and in the case of a right-hand pitcher, it's the left leg. You're not lifting it up in the normal delivery. You keep it very close to the ground and slide toward the plate. It takes at least a step away from the good base stealers.
Tyler Wade, who stole 24 bags in 71 games with AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre this year, does not go, and Kahnle bounces ball 1.
Good job of locating that ball that briefly got away from Kevin Smith. Made sure that Wade had to stay at first. Spiked into the ground, and Kevin does a nice job of making sure the ball doesn't get by him. Bringing the elbows in, blocking the pitch, and then having Joe West keep it in front of it.
One and 0 on Ellsbury. Ball and a strike. Still no throw to first on Wade in the sequence.
Well, so far what Tommy probably doesn't want him to do is see his best move. That way, when you see a pitcher's best move, if you get back easily, you get a little bit extra on the lead.
Just low, 2 balls and a strike. So Tommy Kahnle with the 5th best ERA of all relievers in the American League at 147, trying to close up this 8th inning. Tapper, Kahnle can't get there. Frazier can't either. 2 on for the Yankees on a bleeder from Ellsbury.
Very tough play, knowing that Ellsbury can run. Todd knows it's a do or die, bare hand pick and throw in the same motion, but he can't secure the baseball. Would have been interesting if Wade decided to go to third, because nobody was at the third base bag at this point as the ball was wandering around.
So 2 on, 1 out for the guy we told you about in the open, who has been one of the hottest bats for the Yankees the last few days. Chase Headley with 3 hits last night and 3 hits in the game before the Yankees got here. So he came in 6 for his last 8.
Turns around to hit from his best side by far, the left side.
Fastball, strike 1.
Headley's grounded into 4 double plays, which is not a high total in 240 at bats. But he's well over 100 points better as a left-hand hitter than he is as a right-hand hitter.
Aaron Judge is on deck. 5 words you'd prefer not to hear in a high leverage situation.
First time he's facing a right-hander tonight. That is, if you factor in that Headley still has a chance to ground into a double play, and he would still face a right-hander and would be with nobody on next inning, which is a good thing.
0-2. And time called. Canely goes through with it. Jose Quintana 6 1/3 tonight, 2 hits, no runs. Oh, and 2 from Canely to Headley. According to our pitch cast, that was closer than it looked to being strike 3.
Well, Joe has not called him up there all night, and he is very consistent, one of the league's best umpires, and he didn't call him that time.
1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
There's the straight change that's turned around the career of Tommy Canely. Because this year, unlike any other year, he's gotten it over the plate, and here's the wipeout straight change as Headley, a red-hot hitter of late, goes down on strikes. At least in that at-bat, very much overmatched by the straight change. So Don Cooper coming out. He wants a word on what they want to do with a very frightening hitter.
Well, look, I mean, you do have your choice here of Judge or Sanchez. If you really wanted to, you could walk Judge, load the bases, and bring up Sanchez. That takes away the margin of error for Canely with an empty base. But Aaron Judge has been the best run producer in baseball this year.
Yep. But I would like to see, first of all, if he could get around on the inside fastball from Canely.
Well, he did against Quintana in the 6th.
Yeah,
different side.
A whole different world. But certainly, unless you can hit just about anybody's fastball, you're not going to be hitting .331 at this time of the season.
Canely versus Judge. Outside, ball 1.
From the slider on the first pitch, missed.
Judge up the middle, base hit. Tyler Wade's first major league run ties the game for the Yankees in the 8th.
He threw him a changeup, and it had the whole plate. And Judge was able to stay back and take it back up the middle. Kevin wanted it outside. Instead, this one over the middle of the plate. And RBI number 60. Another no D for Jose Quintana.
So Aaron Judge with his second hit of the game, his 6th time on base, and he leaves it to Sanchez with Ellsbury at second, Judge at first.
Yankees the only American League team that has not been shut out this year, and that streak will continue.
Canely to Sanchez. There's strike one. That changeup for Tommy Canely has been so fantastic. He missed with one, and Judge beat it into the ground into center field. Now Sanchez to right center. The Yankees will take the lead. Ellsbury's home. Judge follows. And the big guns in the pinstripe order have done the damage in the 8th tonight.
RBIs 38 and 39 for Gary Sanchez, his first hit of the night, and it's a big one. He got this one down, drilled it into right center field. And the Yankees, who have had a quick strike offense all season long, show it to you again here. The big guys in the middle get the job done. But the key was the walk to Wade to set it up.
Tyler Wade, in his first plate appearance in the majors, ran the count full, took ball 4, scored the tying run, and the inning continues with Didi Gregorius. And you hope for Tommy Canely's sake that a spectacular season isn't in any way mentally derailed by this game tonight.
Well, they say the leading characteristic of any guy that's coming in late into the ball game is a short memory, because you're going to have nights like tonight.
Chopper, Canely off the mound, ends up on the deck. Sanchez to third.
That's 2 little chopping infield hits. Tommy gets to it, but feet go out from under him, so runners at the corners.
Todd Frazier a word. And Brett Gardner, who pinch ran last inning, will bat in the spot previously occupied by Tyler Austin.
Question for Ricky is, when do you go to Jennings? And the answer is simply right now. So one of the real rare tough outings for Tommy Canely, a couple of infield choppers, and Dan Jennings in the game. John makes his season debut as the Sox face off against the Yankees. Coverage begins at 6:30 with White Sox pregame live on CSN Plus, or stream the game on the NBC Sports app or at csnchicago.com. And our Hyundai call to the pen is Dan Jennings. He inherits runners at the corners. Brett Gardner making his first at bat of the night. There you look at the numbers on for the 36th time. Been the busiest man out of the bullpen with an ERA of 4.40. And a big out to get in what has become a 2-run Yankee lead.
Sox were up on the strength of Jose Quintana and a Jose Abreu RBI double, but the Yankees, with their 8th batter of the inning coming up in Gardner, 4 hits, 2 infield hits of those 4, but hits nonetheless. So Gardner, who led off last night and went 0 for 4, faces Jennings. Sanchez at third, Gregorius at first, and there's a strike for Dan. Breaking ball fouled off by Gardner, so 1-2. The Sox in the bottom of the 8th will have Engel, Sanchez, and Cabrera coming up. And boy, Jose Quintana was very good. Luis Severino has matched him pretty well tonight.
Severino is throwing exceptionally well. Jose had just a great night against a very tough hitting baseball team.
To shortstop and Anderson. That was a laser, but right at Tim to end the inning. But the Yankees take the lead. It's 3-1 after 7.5.
Couple of changes. Tyler Wade, who scored the tying run, stays in left field. And we've got a new pitcher. It's Domingo Germán on for the 4th time. 10 strikeouts in 8 2/3. You look at some pretty impressive numbers, except for the 5 walks. So that should bode well. And we've got a pinch hitter.
It is Alan Hansen for Adam Engel. So Hansen, Sanchez, and Cabrera. Engel was 0 for 1 with a sac bunt and a strikeout. Allen's hit the ball pretty well for the Sox, at the top of the card for some recent time, as he takes ball number 1. Hansen 10 for 27 so far.
Not a bad time to take a strike when you've got a pitcher and you look at the 5 walks in just over 8 innings. You have to wonder about control. So Luis Severino was absolutely phenomenal tonight. 7 innings, 1 run, and his all-time record in strikeouts. Yankee pen up and going. It's Tyler Clippard.
Former and current Yankee Tyler Clippard, couple of stints with New York, Washington in between. 2-1. He laid off nicely on a changeup. 3 balls and a strike.
One of the things in talking with Larry Rothschild before the game, he said that Sox coming back last night forced him to do something that he didn't want to do, and that was put Dellin Betances in the game. He said that was a big factor for us, and you're seeing some of the reasons why here. Not that he believes that his pitcher Herman is not going to get him out, but he knows that Betances has got everybody out, and by using him last night, you want to be careful, especially on setup men, not necessarily closers, but setup men. You want to limit the amount of appearances because they tend to get a lot of them if you're a good team, and the Yankees are.
That's ball 4. Good start. Hansen walks.
That's what you're looking for from a pitcher with suspect control. You want to make sure that you don't help him out, and Allen didn't.
So the leadoff walk, Sanchez to bat, then Melky. Sox led 1-0 after 3 and carried that lead into the 8th inning until the Yankees scored 3 times in the top of this 8th. Way out of the zone.
Herman missed the entire 2015 season. He had to undergo Tommy John surgery. Nothing wrong with the fastball. He's getting that up there. 96. It's just location that's been problematic for him.
That's outside. 2 balls, no strikes.
It was Larry Rothschild, and
Yankees trainer as well.
Yep, this is never a really good sign.
Very well could be the Yankees interpreter coming out as well with Larry to help discuss. You can follow Dan Hayes, our White Sox insider, all season long on CSNChicago.com, presented by The Great Escape. Pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape.
That was a twofold purpose. One was to settle down his young right-hander. A second was to allow Clippard more pitches to get loose. Polish Heritage Night. looking for a rally late.
2 balls, no strikes. Turns to 3-0. Melky awaiting.
Stout part of the order, hoping to get a chance with 2 on.
That is way out of the zone, and that likely will be the call for Tyler Clippard. And it is. 2 walks. Sox are in business. Tying run at first base. And Tyler Clippard is out of the Yankee bullpen. 3-1 with a rally bubbling here in the 8th.
Tyler Clippard, who comes in at 1-4, his ERA 4.85, on for the 35th time. So he's been a very busy man out of the pen. 29 2/3 innings, 35 strikeouts. Clippard at times during his career has been a closer. He has had a lot of success as a setup man, however.
Waiting for the rally for the Sox here in the 8th as Tyler Clippard will face his 2007 Yankee teammate Melky Cabrera.
Melky looking for his first hit.
Strikeout, fly out to center. Ground out to the pitcher, and Judge is here. Your Honor, all rise.
Nice outfit.
First and second. Nobody out, and Clippard wheels to second base. Sox take a balk right now.
That would be a delight, as Tyler Clippard had 32 saves back in 2012 with the Nationals. Appeared in 74 games. He usually appears in a lot of games.
Clippard to Cabrera. That's inside and gets away. No need for the bunt. Melky second and third. Nobody out.
That is a wild pitch. Clippard with his 4th wild pitch of the year. Sanchez was setting up low and away, and that high fastball inside got by him. So the tying run's in scoring position. And the infield is going to stay back. The ground ball is going to plate 1.
Clippard does throw a splitter, which has a chance to get away. On 1-0. way upstairs.
And tonight you're seeing an excellent example of how a late rally, even when it comes up short, can affect the game the next night. By putting Betances in last night, Joe Girardi did not want to go back to him here in the 8th, which is his usual spot. So going to some other folks has not worked out to this point.
Inside. Clippard throws a lot of changeups. He missed with one there. Jose Abreu would be next. Three straight walks. That one Clippard had an argument about, but Melky will take it. Bases loaded, and the rally's officially on.
Well, here's a break as this one had the plate. And Joe, who's been consistent, he has not called the ball down all night. Stayed right with it. Now the tying and go-ahead run in the form of Melky with the bases loaded. And with the bases loaded, Jose has been wonderful.
Nobody out. Clippard to Abreu. That's a called strike. So Hansen at third, Sanchez at second, Melky at first, nobody out. Yankees are playing at double play depth, willing to trade 2 for 1. Now Sanchez will go to talk to Clippard. Abreu got Severino for an RBI double in the 3rd. Sanchez watched it from behind the plate. That's the only run so far for the Sox. Three walks. Bases full. Oh, 2. Abreu high in the air and foul.
The fastball of Clippard, 90 miles an hour. There were times in his career when he threw substantially harder than that. Now he's got to make up for it with location, and he's thrown all 3 pitches up and just skirting the strike zone.
No balls, 2 strikes from Tyler Clippard to Jose Abreu.
Pretty much like he tried to wipe him out on a splitter. Sanchez, when you call for that pitch, you got a pretty good idea it's going to wind up in the dirt, so you better get down and smother it. And he was able to do it.
What will come next? 3 walks, nobody out. Strike 3.
He decided to stay up in the strike zone. The 4th pitch of the at-bat was a show-me pitch down. When he went to get him, upstairs. You see where Sanchez is. He is up on his haunches, and he wanted the high fastball. He got it and threw it by him. What a wonderful time for Avi to break out of this slump.
1 for 20 on the homestand. 12 for 40 with the bases loaded lifetime. What will that picture be a memory of? In the air, short outfield. Judge makes the catch. Torres was in the way of a semi coming in, and Garcia is the second out, leaving it to Frazier.
You can tell that Torres is a very smart player, because a collision might have been career-ending. He decided to give way. Wise choice. Shallow fly ball, and Alan Hansen can do nothing but watch it.
Judge trying to pump anybody up that he can find. 2 down for Todd Frazier with 3 slams in his career. What a job by Clippard to even get him here. 2 out, bases loaded. Strike 1.
I thought it was a little high, but not much to argue about there. It had the plate.
Yankees fans, Sox fans hoping for separate results here. Oh, 0-1. That is up and out. 1 ball, 1 strike. Frazier last night had a solo homer in the 2nd inning. Can he flip this game tonight? Inside.
Clippard wanted that one. Joe West had other ideas. Melke representing the go-ahead run at first, so he's got to get a substantial secondary lead. And with Romine well off the line and not behind him at all, you can get that good secondary lead.
Two and 1. That's inside. Same spot. 3 balls and a strike.
It's another changeup that drifted inside, and you notice Todd's left elbow. He wasn't rushing to get it out of the way. He was willing to take one for the club, but it didn't float inside quite far enough.
Three balls and a strike. Clippard to Frazier. Strike 2.
Well, not a big advantage when you're thinking about the go-ahead run scoring from first is everybody's going to be going. You got a young catcher out with a veteran pitcher, taking whatever rhythm he might have had away from him. Maybe a trip to the mound later in Sanchez's career that he wouldn't make.
Three and 2. Bases loaded. 2 down. 2-run game. Todd Frazier. Takes ball 4, 3-2.
One of the reasons why on one of the more critical pitches of the sequence, a young catcher does not need a visit to a veteran pitcher who was a closer. Well, it's a one-run ball game as Larry Rothschild comes out. They have a word. Matt Davidson has a chance to be a hero.
Davidson, who went on that outstanding home run rally during the last homestand against Baltimore, and then through a portion of the road trip did have a grand slam against Baltimore exactly 2 weeks ago.
But a very quiet rally in this inning. 4 walks have played it a run. 37th driven in for Todd Frazier. And there is the grand slam that Jason was talking about.
Bases loaded, 2 down. Clippard to Davidson. Strike 1 in the outside corner. Matt came in 0 for 12 in his last 3 games. He's nothing for 3 tonight, and trying to reverse that with 1 swing. Clippard already has a wild pitch in his outing. That one in the dirt and blocked by Sanchez. One and one. High fastball, 1-2.
It is easier said than done, but Matt Davidson will eventually learn how to lay off the high fastball, and sometimes it's as easy as maybe just a slight crouch. But he's very early in his career, and that's the one pitch that's given him trouble. When he lays off that and swings at strikes, he makes pretty good contact.
Bases loaded, 2 out, and Davidson gets a piece of that one. And stays alive at a ball and 2 strikes.
That one really borderline. Down maybe a half an inch, and it's a line drive. Up a half an inch, and it's inning over. In the spot it was thrown, stays alive by fouling it off.
Four walks in the inning. 1-2. Davidson gets a piece. And now Sanchez goes out to talk to Clippard again. .32-year-old Tyler Clippard against 26-year-old Matt Davidson. Bases loaded, 2 out. Foul ball.
Went to an off-speed pitch. And that time he got a piece of it, but on the wrong side of the line.
Question is, did Sanchez say go off speed for 1, then go back to the fastball? What's the choice here?
Let's see what he's calling. You would expect a high fastball.
It is. Davidson pops it back. And this is out of play.
So Matt's battling. Good at bat so far. 8th pitch on the way.
When the 8th inning started, it was 1-0 Sox. The Yankees got 3 in the top of the inning. The Sox have at least 1 here in the home half. Frazier at first, Cabrera at second, Sanchez at third, and now time called by Davidson.
Well, perhaps with Clippard spinning the baseball as much as he does, looking for the sign, occasionally you lose control of the ball.
One and two. Davidson against Clippard. And hits it foul again. So it'll take a 9th pitch to decide Davidson's fate. Bases loaded, 2 down. He checked his swing and did not go. 2-2. Sanchez out to talk to Clippard again.
The only thing I can think of in this situation, going out to see him in this, the way it sets up, is you don't want to give a sign. You're telling him what to throw, finding out maybe what he wants to throw, but he's not going to give a sign.
2-2. It fades inside. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
He hasn't hit with one of those yet.
That's the pitch he's made his money on in his career. Tyler Clippard, the changeup. Full count, crowd standing. 1-run game. Three and 2. Davidson swings through it. A well-placed changeup retires the side, and the Yankees carry the lead to the 9th. 3-2. Davidson's at bat to end the inning.
What an at bat it was. He looked at a fastball for a strike, and then count evened at 1. Another fastball for a strike. It's 1-2, and then the foul balls ensue. Staying alive, Davidson had quite an at bat. Clippard eventually worked the count to 3-2, and even though he had not hit with a straight change the entire sequence, threw a straight change and got him.
Another tapper back to the mound. Jennings is on it, and Abreu keeps the bag for out number 1.
What a nice job by Jose, because that throw was high and wide. He was able to stretch and still keep his foot on the bag as Hansen stays in the game to play center field.
So in the 8th inning, we saw 15 batters. 5 total walks, 4 hits combined between the two teams, and 3 strikeouts. Here's Romine.
Yankee pen up and going, and they might choose to close with Betances tonight.
That is called ball 2.
And it is Betances, who picked up 6 saves. When Aroldis Chapman was hurt, Betances was called on to close.
Labeled into right field. That's a base hit for Austin Romine. Yankees came into the night tied with the Red Sox for first place in the American League East. Boston endured a rain delay tonight, but leading now 5-1 against Minnesota at Fenway Park. So we'll see how that shakes out. The Twins were a half game back of Cleveland at the start of the night, but the Indians lost to Texas, who the Sox will play over the weekend.
First look at the Rangers this year. They're having a disappointing year to this point, although they are a game over 500.
Texas is at Cleveland for the weekday series, and the Rangers got a run in the 9th inning tonight. That was an Adrian Beltre home run against Cody Allen for the win.
That's twice that Cody Allen's been called on late to close it down, and twice he picked up the loss. Only 6 hits combined, those two teams in that game.
That was Mike Clevenger for the Indians and Tyson Ross for the Rangers.
Tyson Ross, one of those pitchers where, looking at his stuff, you wonder why he doesn't win around 20 games each and every year.
Rangers are another team coming in that the bullpen has really struggled, but they were good tonight. Matt Bush got the save. Keone Kela got the win. Romine at first, 1 down. Foul ball from Tyler Wade, who scored his very first major league run after his very first major league walk, after his very first major league plate appearance in the 8th. Sox, by the way, will lead off with Tim Anderson in the bottom of this 9th. Tim, who had the late homer last night to make it a game. 3-2 to Wade. Romine at first. And that chopper's foul. Wide of Tony Pena in the first base coaching box for the Yankees, the former Major League skipper.
There's no shortage of former and current managers on this team. Larry Rothschild, Major League manager. Tony Pena, Major League manager. And of course, Joe Girardi, longtime Major League manager.
Three and 2. Ball 4 to no, strike 3. Called him out on strike 3. 2 down.
Wade had a good at bat and then took a look at a pitch he thought was outside, but no complaints as he walks back after looking at a called third, and that was close enough.
So 2 down. Dan will take it. Thank you. And here is Jacoby Ellsbury to take a strike.
Sox fan up and going, and just in case Dan has any further problems.
Anthony Swarzak came in and threw a pitch to get a double play ground ball in the 7th, which seems like a decade ago.
It's a fairly substantially long 8th inning. It's 2 nights in a row with very long 8ths. It's Jake Petrichka throwing into pen. Even though Headley is a switch hitter, 2 big right-handers, Judge and Sanchez, that did all the damage last inning, looming in the middle of that lineup.
Fouled away left side by Ellsbury. And Judge with the RBI single to tie the game.
It's an interference play. It hit the glove of Kevin Smith. Take a look at the glove. Ellsbury, by the way, is the world's leader in that particular play.
He is.
And that's one of the things you have to watch for when you reach out to try to catch it. Ellsbury's been doing that for a number of years, and he's very good at it. And now he does find his way aboard.
He came into the season since 2007 with 26 catcher's interference calls.
Yep, he's a master at it.
There's strike 1 to Chase Headley, who now has to switch back to his weaker side at 183 for the year against lefties. Ball and a strike on Headley. And that one gets away from Smith. 2nd and 3rd now for the Yankees.
Looks like it probably was a pass ball. We'll have to wait and check on the call. It is a pass ball. Two and 1. Fouled away by Headley. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
So Anderson, Smith, and Hansen, the batters coming up for the Sox in the home ninth. And this is an important couple of runs on the base path if the Sox are going to try to effect a comeback here.
Well, huge, because the man coming in is Dellin Betances, and he has a 1.09 ERA. He's given up 3 earned runs all year.
Two will have to wait. Ellsbury at second, Romine at third, 2-2. And he got him swinging. Jennings shuts down the Yankees after a couple of base runners. Sox will try to finish the deal with a comeback against Betances after this.
Moment, and it came late. Gary Sanchez drives this ball into the gap, and it scored a pair. Yankees took the lead, and Brett Gardner stays in the game in left field. That means that their designated hitter is by the boards, and Dellin Betances comes on, 6 for 7 in save opportunities. 3-1 record, 1.09 ERA, and 47 strikeouts in 24 2/3 innings. We saw him last night. He had early control issues.
Betances in part because the Sox made that comeback last night and forced Chapman into the ball game. Betances walked Frazier yesterday, then struck out Davidson, and he'll face Anderson first, then Smith and Hansen. That's ball one. There's the slider, 1-1 strike.
You know, we saw that last night too when he had some problems getting the fastball over. He went to what for him is his comfort pitch. He has supreme confidence that he can get that slider over the plate whenever he wants to.
Anderson to third on the tapper. Headley on the charge is up to the task for out number 1. So one down for Kevin Smith, who singled to right twice, both against the Yankees starter Luis Severino. who threw the ball very well. 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run, and a career high 12 strikeouts for Severino. Slider outside for Smith.
That's really one of the factors that makes him so tough. He has 2 speeds of sliders. That hard one where he missed last night, and the one where he takes a little something off to throw a strike.
Well, you've got Betances, who has walk issues, and Kevin Smith, who has 0 career major league walks.
An interesting battle.
That's ball 3. See how virtuous patience is for Kevin Smith.
And for Betances, a long way back to battle his way back into this at bat.
Three and 0. That is ball 4, and the first major league walk for Kevin Smith makes him the tying run. And here comes Willie Garcia to pinch run. Kevin Smith should get 4 baseballs to keep. So with Hansen already utilized, and coming up next, Willie Garcia is the guy who pinch runs for Kevin Smith. One on, one out against Betances. All it takes is one wild pitch to have that runner in scoring position. And all bets are off.
Just 2 wild pitches all year for Betances. You would think more with as hard as he throws that slider.
Ball 1. Joe Girardi has got to have had enough of control problems tonight. His starter, Severino, didn't walk anybody and struck out 12. Now suddenly in the 8th inning, 4 walks. And here in the 9th inning, a walk on 4 to Kevin Smith. And a first pitch ball for Hansen. Ball 2. I mean, these are not close.
No, he's missing by plenty.
Two balls, no strikes. There's ball 3.
7 straight bad ones. And Yolmer in the on-deck circle.
Dellin Betances 5 years ago in AAA went 74 2/3 and walked 69. He has had some years where the walk is the bugaboo in a big way. Can he stabilize, or will the Sox take him? There's a strike. 3-1.
Allen pretty well assured to get a fastball here.
Fouled away left side. Yolmer Sanchez is next, then Melky. Garcia at first. Breaking ball away. Ball 4.
He went to the slider and he missed with it. And that was tantalizing for Alan Hansen. And Joe West has been consistent. He has not called the low pitch all night. And that puts the potential time and potential winning runs on base.
Sox have had 6 base runners in the 8th and 9th, and none have come on a hit. The last Sox hit was a Kevin Smith single in the 5th, and Aroldis Chapman is in mothballs for the night after the Sox forced him into the game yesterday.
You can't win a pennant in June, but you can lose one if you lose your closer to too much work. Especially a closer just coming back off the disabled list.
Two on, one out. Sanchez is hit. Bases loaded. The margin for error is now 0 for the erratic Dellin Betances.
That's 7 base runners without the benefit of a hit in the 8th and 9th. So Larry Rothschild to the mound. Alan Hansen taking the opportunity to sprint from second to third just to loosen up his legs, carrying with him the winning run if he gets a chance.
This game finds the shortcoming very quickly. And Betances, who has had walk issues crop up from time to time in his career dating back to 2006, has seen it bite him so far on this Tuesday night in Chicago.
Infield coming in at all 4 positions. An ideal situation for Melky. And no great arms in the outfield.
There's a slider, strike 1. And suddenly a fly ball has a tie game. Melky with a hit in 17 of his last 19 games. He is 0 for so far tonight. In the air, left field side. Gardner on the run into foul ground, makes the catch, and no tag.
Brett Gardner got rid of that one very quickly. That's what you have to do. You can't leave anything to chance. So he crossed over into foul territory, but he was on the run when he made this catch and flipped the ball back in and got it to Sanchez as quickly as he possibly could.
Boy, that's a nice play.
It is a nice play. He's got good speed, and so Girardi pushes the right button, putting Gardner in the ball game to play left field late.
He loses the DH by doing it, but gets the second out. And now Jose Abreu with the bases loaded, 2 out in the 9th. Slider, ball 1. Betances may feel like he's been squeezed at points, but he's had control issues to affect the benefit of the doubt. 1-0. Ball 2. Dellin Betances with his command, elusive at best. 2-0. A high strike one.
He goes to the off-speed slider. That's the pitch he feels he can consistently get over the plate. He has not been able to get the hard slider over.
2 balls, 1 strike. Abreu and Betances. The last dance tonight. Garcia's home. Hanson scores. Sox win. What a comeback. One hit is all it took to mob Abreu.
Now, before the game, when you and I were talking with Ricky Renteria, he said regardless of the situation, he knows that his team is going to keep grinding and never quit in the ball game. They weren't going to lay down for anybody, and they didn't lay down tonight. Just 1 hit the last 2 innings with a whole lot of men on, and Jose Abreu, who drove in 3 tonight, takes it through the left side. Betances battling his control. The throw is high. Alan Hansen sliding under a leaping Gary Sanchez. And that, folks, is the ball game.
Jose Abreu with the second walk-off hit for the Sox this year. The first one was Yolmer. And the jerseyless hero sends everyone home. The Yankees with 3 in the 8th. And it wasn't enough. 4-3 your final score. So for our producer Keon Dolachaki, director Jim Angio, associate producer Dave Ross, tech manager Mark Harper, and the executive producer Jim Corno Jr. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti for our entire crew. So long from Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago. Coming up next, Subaru Postgame Live. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on CSN. What a night.